Welcome to The Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Welcome to Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today, I have the honor of speaking with a woman whose words carry both fire and grace. LaWanna Bradford. She is a visionary. She's an author. She's a patriot, and not in the flag-waving performance kind of way, but you'll see. Welcome, LaWanna Bradford.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming and sharing your newest book, I Pledge Allegiance, Reclaiming Patriotism Through Truth, Tears, and Triumph. How did you come up with this name? Let's start there.
Well, the name of the book is I Pledge Allegiance, a Journey Through the Words That Shaped the Nation. And it's actually, you've been in situations in your life where you're going down a path and you're thinking that's your destiny, right? And then suddenly something happens and it shifts. So I was in the process of actually writing another manuscript, and I woke up one morning with this burning in my heart about the Pledge of Allegiance. And what does it mean? And why do we say it? And does anyone care? And is it relevant today? And did I even know what it meant? And as I started to explore and ask myself questions, and I was doing it in a journaling format, it began to morph into this book. And that's when I came up with the title, A Journey Through the Words That Shaped the Nation, because it was my personal exploration to help me understand how these simple words literally shape how we see ourselves, how we see our nation, and how we see our future.
Now, I'm thank you for sharing that, because I have been thinking since I've been looking forward to our experience, our conversation. I've been thinking now, these words have been so controversial for some people. How did you know that this was the right time to write this book?
Because it literally was like fire shut up in my bones. I felt, if not for anyone, for myself, for my family, in honor of the legacy of my father, who served this nation for 30 years, and really to challenge what we mean when we are looking at our own belief systems. So yes, this concept is couched in the Pledge of Allegiance, but it goes even deeper to just what we say to ourselves, our commitment to ourselves, our commitment to our family, to others. Are we really tapped in and tuned into that commitment, or are we just following the masses because it's indoctrination, because it feels right? Why would we rock the boat? So that's what brings us to this conversation today.
So what surprised you the most about yourself while you were writing this book?
That I had no idea what it was. I'm very serious. I am a patriot through and through. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I don't know how many thousands of times I've recited the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
And I thought, I don't recall anyone sitting me down in preschool or kindergarten and mapping this out in an elementary way for me to understand.
Let's do that. How about we dissect? Let's talk about the line, one nation under God, indivisible.
Yes, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
It's funny, Denise. I was talking to my brother about this yesterday, and he's driving, and he starts to recite it, and he goes, oh my God, what is the Pledge of Allegiance? And I was cracking up. I said, how we forget. So I want to just give you just a little tiny bit of history. I'm thinking that this pledge had been here since 1776, 1892, right? 30 years after the Civil War. And it was written to bring a nation that was trying to find itself, a nation that was still divided together. So Francis Bellamy is the one who wrote it. But the one nation under God wasn't inserted until 1954, when you think about post-World War II and Cold War.
Almost 100 years later.
Almost 100 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we dissect it, so I pledge of allegiance, the first thing is, what is a pledge?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do people understand? It's, you know, it's your promise, it's your commitment. And allegiance is even deeper. It's like I'm pledging this commitment, mind, soul, and body to this thing, to this belief. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. So to the flag, to the symbol. So, you know, going beyond the fabric and the banner waving, but symbolically, what does it mean? The sense of freedom, the sense of unity, all of these symbolic components of the flag of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. And I had to sit there, United States. In theory, it sounds good.
Yes.
Right now, in our lifetime, we're more divided than we have ever been.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, okay, are we saying this in truth? Because if it was our truth, we would be speaking it, teaching it, living it. You know, it would be very demonstrative, but we see everything that's it appears to be going against it.
And why so do you think that now there are more people that's going against it than for it?
I think, truthfully, when you have leadership, highest, and this book is not a political book at all. It's not a partisan. But when you have a person who is in power, in leadership, and they're professing things that are pitting one against the other, yet we say that we stand on the foundation of this pledge. It's like, no, it's counterintuitive. It's counterproductive. So we're saying these words, but we're living something very different.
But we are living in a time where we still have shared experiences like joys and grief and the things that echoes community. And then we also have, that we're united by aspirations for safety, aspirations for equal opportunity, aspirations for, justice, and a place where we feel like we belong. That's still one of our shared, or something that unites us under that symbol of the flag, and both,
right,
not just the flag.
Right. And when you have individuals who come, from different backgrounds and experiences, and you have institutions and systems that reinforce, before inclusivity, before diversity, before equity. Yet you still say, but this pledge is so important, it's not lining up. So again, into the republic means the people.
Right.
The power lies with the people. So we, the people, can demand, wait a minute, we want to see something different. We want to live our truths. We don't want to just display this United States of America. We truly want to be this beacon of hope that the world sees. We want to be truly a nation that has come together as this amazing melting pot that embraces ourselves. Like my father said, we were talking, he passed away at 94 last September.
Bless him.
And we were talking about just when he was born. He said, when I was born, we were colored, then we were Negro, then we were Afro-Americans, then we were African-Americans, now we're African-American /Black. He said, when can we just be Americans? Because I get our identity and in our heritage, but when are we going to just be Americans?
Do you see in other cultures where they are accepted or labeled as American and we are not?
I think we are labeled as Americans. I grew up overseas, so I think when we step outside of our borders into other
You're
countries,
American.
yeah, we're Americans, right? USA, USA all day long. The moment we come in, we start dividing ourselves.
So the division is here. We are being labeled maybe by our own system. So
I
the
believe
people that
so.
should be accepting us as Americans are the ones that say no, they're African Americans, they are Negro Americans, they are
Yes.
colored Americans. And so it is this country that has not accepted their children fully.
I believe so. I have a good friend of mine, and she's Jamaican, and we were just talking in general,
Big up
and
Jamaicans, okay, because I'm Jamaican.
okay, and I refer to her as just in general. I said, as being women who are Black here in America,
Mhm.
and she was very offended by that, and she said, "I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican." I said, "Okay." So I respected again her view of herself, but I also saw she didn't want to identify with that label, that stigma for whatever reason. And I thought, but when you walk out the door, people don't see what country of your
They
country
see
of
you
origin.
first, your skin.
Yes,
First, they see you as a woman,
yes,
and then they see you as a Black woman, or they
yes,
may see you first as Black
yes,
and then as a Black woman. So
yes,
either way, you have to realize who you are being seen at as when people look at you.
yes,
And so that's a thing that I realize a lot of people, I don't know if it's only Jamaicans, but I do see a lot of people have an identifying crisis where they don't want to be seen as the issues that is happening here with us.
yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those of us who come from, well, actually, pretty much all the Americans and islands have some enslaved ancestry, but actually here in the United States, um, the challenge is unless you've gone and done your DNA research, it's hard to find that country. Where in Africa or where in wherever do I originate from? So we tend to be. I think we are the only nation or people. I'm calling us a nation because
Mhm.
our identity continues to change.
And who's changing our identities?
I think it's the powers that be when they're trying to understand how to categorize us or how to cast us. Right? It's like what fits. It's from people of color to now, you've got BIPOC. And like, why do we keep coming up with these labels to express the skin color? That's all it is. It's to express the skin color of individuals. Why?
Do you feel that, and this is a question for the viewers and the listeners, that America hasn't accepted us, Black people, as American because America hasn't truly accepted the lies of America is built on we're all equal, all men are created equal, like that they say all men are created equal while enslaving Black people or denying humanity for others and profiting from our labor, profiting from colored people's labor, and not wanting to accept people as equal even though they're saying all men are equal. And that contradiction was never corrected.
Well, I think the systems attempted to correct it by the separate but equal, time period. I think many feel that, okay, humanity is humanity, but let's keep us separate. Let them do their thing over here, and we do our thing over here, and everyone will be happy. And I think it's up to individuals who really want to embrace the divinity of individuals and the love of humanity to speak up in very innovative ways. And that's what this book is all about. It's just a fresh perspective of why do we believe what we believe? And believe it or not, we were indoctrinated.
Yeah.
We don't want to say that, but we were.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that we were indoctrinated that may have gone undetected or not so easily detected at first?
Well, you think about the socialization, right? Primary socialization is typically in the home. So what our parents are telling us, giving our value system, that's a form of indoctrination. But then when we step out, that secondary socialization, that comes from our school systems. Now, where as a community, and I'm speaking specifically to Black overall community, we tend to accept what was given, and then we come back and we try to assimilate, to make things right, to be a part of. When you look at other nations that are represented here, people of other nations, they go back to their communities and they erase the indoctrination. The Arab League erases the indoctrination because they want to make sure that their values and the way they worship is very much a part of who they are going forward. And I think a lot of that is not due to fault of our own, but when you bring a people to any country against their will, and you strip them of everything, their names, their identity, their religion, what are you spending your life trying to do? You're trying to fit in, you're trying to belong, you're trying to be a part of, because you don't have anything to latch your identity onto.
Whew. This is deep. And so the deeper truth is that Black people have always been American. And we have been American because we helped to build this America, this country, literally, culturally, and spiritually.
Yes.
And the problem isn't our identity. It's the country's inability to reconcile its past with the promise that they made for the country. So we are not the issue, and there is hope for us because every time we have an author, we write, we speak, we teach, we vote, we create, we resist, or we rise up, and we are pushing America to see us, to see our talents, not as problems that need to be solved, but as people to be honored because of our contributions then, because of our contributions now, and because of what we are bringing to the table now that is going to be a part of the grand future, the bigger scheme of the future. So we're not asking for permission anymore to be seen as Americans. We are standing up from this point on and saying, I am an American. And when they ask you if you're Black American or you're Hispanic American or whatever, you stand strong and just fill out American, period.
Yes.
So it's us. We are now, from this point on, We're not going to ask questions. We're not going to need permission. We're not going to recognize and validate people who don't acknowledge us as Americans first.
Exactly. You know, when my dad joined the military in 1948, it was still a segregated army, and he was one of the few remaining Buffalo Soldiers. If you know anything about the Buffalo Soldier history.
Well, I learned a little bit when Bob Marley sung about them. The Buffalo Soldiers, yeah.
Yeah. So coming in 1948, a segregated army. So it's like, okay, we're good enough to fight and die for this country, but yet you separate us. And even when Truman, it was at the end of 1948, he desegregated the army. It was 4 years later before the military at large embraced all individuals, right? To say we are. It's one army, one fight, right? And I think that's how we need to see ourselves. We talk about make America great again. And I said I wasn't going to get political, but I just want to use that term because I believe America has always been great. It's not again. It's always been great because of the legacy, the giants whose shoulders we stand on, us being able to stand up in our diversity and our truth, to be a beacon of hope to other nations. It's always been great. It's not again, it's always been great. But when we fall for, again, indoctrination, so this book is not just the pledge, but what do you follow? What do you believe? And why do you believe it? Is it really your truth? Because I believe if whatever your truth is, you will defend it. Just as so many men and women have done in this nation and been willing to die for it, if it's your truth.
I believe that America's always been great, but not because you're great. It doesn't mean that you didn't have some times where people felt marginalized, for indigenous people, for Black people. Sometimes during the American history, during slavery, during Jim Crow days, during the Trail of Tears, when Native American tribes were forcibly removed from their land. There were times when Japanese Americans during the internment of the Japanese Americans in World War II, where over hundreds of thousands were imprisoned without cause. When there was a civil rights struggle, when there was a time where during voter suppression, there was a lot of times when America had some issues and was marginalized communities. They felt like this was not a time of greatness for them. So the term greatness is not something that we can accept without saying there was a time where we had some issues that internally we needed to work on.
Yes, from a system standpoint, systemically, absolutely. But when I say Americans, I'm referring to the people.
Yes.
The people make this nation, and the people, I believe, are great. You don't, no powers that be can wave a magic wand and change who I am and what I value and how I show up. And that's what I don't want the young generation to think, wait a minute, maybe I'm less than because they keep saying again. So that must mean my mom, my parents, my grandparents must not have been doing something so great. They went through some challenges.
Because there was always people pushing for better, pushing for justice, pushing for change, like Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King, and there was a lot of. There's always been great people within the struggle of trying to create the best country, because there's never going to be a time when there's not work to be done. When you have a country, even in a community or your home, let's talk about your home. Is there a time when your home is just perfect and there's nothing to be worked on? Maybe it's communication in one area in the home, or maybe it's working on the home itself, the structure.
Right.
So with just as with this country, there's sometimes we're working on justice, we're working on, in this moment, humanity for others, and sometimes it's equality, and sometimes it's just a time of healing for the country. So greatness is not just about the people in the power or the government, but it's also what individuals are working on at the time. Just like in any home, in any community, it's never perfect. There's always work to be done. So I appreciate that.
Right. And I just want to piggyback off of what you're saying as far as the family. Within many families, there's a sense of pride, right?
Yeah.
Your name, your legacy. So that's what I'm saying. When we identify ourselves as Americans, there's a sense of pride, even in the struggle,
Yeah.
right? Because of that struggle, we are where we are. Because of that struggle of all of the populations of color that you mentioned, from the Trail of Tears to the internment of the Japanese to the fight today, because of that struggle,
Yes.
we are great.
And we are Americans.
And we are Americans.
Okay, we are Americans. Black, brown, bold, brilliant. We're brought here, and we're Americans. So we're standing up, and we're taking that charge back. We built this country, we bled for it, and we are Americans.
Yes.
What a wonderful conversation to have in this time. So timely, right?
Yes.
So tell me, when you go out as the author, what kind of conversations do you spark up with others, among other authors, or just being in a room?
Well, I'm actually challenged because people are like, what do you mean I pledge allegiance? How could you pledge allegiance in this time? What are you doing?
Uh-huh.
Are you on that side? And I'm like, no, I'm on the side of truth. I'm on the side of justice. I'm on the side of humanity. I'm on the side of building for the next generation. And to do that, it requires unification. And right now I happen to live in America, and I'm an American. So the Pledge of Allegiance, as I said, when I started just digging and asking myself a lot of questions, for me, I'm like, yeah, I do Pledge of Allegiance. We are not perfect by any means, but I believe in the hope and that it gives us.
If this book had a soundtrack, what songs would be on it?
Oh my goodness! If it was a soundtrack,
well,
you talking about Bob Marley, "Get Up, Stand Up for Your Right."
Yep, and Buffalo Soldier. Yep. So Bob Marley will be an artist up there.
I would say "God Bless America" would be one. Because I truly do love this country, and whatever faiths that come together under that umbrella of deity. Let's see, what would be another one?
How about "Freedom" by our friend Beyonce?
Yeah, "Freedom" by Beyonce or John Batiste. I like his version of "Freedom." I like Sam Cooke, "A Change Is Gonna Come."
Yes. Yes, this soundtrack is getting really good. So I love this conversation. What would you say to someone who has never felt seen in America, and this soundtrack to them sounds like yet a dream?
I would say if you don't feel like you're being seen or heard, don't sideline yourself. There are always going to be individual situations that are going to try to block, minimize you. But when you can rise up, as Maya Angelou said, "Yet still I rise," that's when your confidence and your courage begins to just grow, and you just keep doing it, and you keep pressing, and you keep demanding, as Shirley Chisholm says, "You don't give me a seat at the table? Well, I'll bring my own seat. And better yet, I'll make my own table and take it in my own room and build my own community."
Yes.
Right?
So when people are feeling separated, or families are being separated, how can you be encourage patriotism in a time like this?
Well, and this is the part of my book where I paused because I said, I identify as a patriot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of how I was raised, and it's because of the great man who raised me.
Yes.
I can't put that on everyone. I can't ask you to be a patriot if you don't feel that there's any benefit, any value for you.
Yes.
Even as being born in this country, naturalized in this country, however you've come in this country, I just pray that in your journey, whatever it is, that you find your truth and you stand for it. Because before there's patriot to country, for me, it's love of God, love of family, love of community, then my nation.
Thank you so much. And I believe, I want to add, I believe patriotism isn't about perfection. It is not about living in a country that is perfect. Otherwise, you just wouldn't be a patriot to any place. And because there's no country in this world that is perfect. So patriotism isn't about perfection, guys. It's about participation, joining hands, help people who feel like their voice is not being heard. Help them stand up and be heard. Help people understand that being patriotic doesn't mean ignoring injustice or standing by and watching, people injustice. It means loving your country enough to want to see it better. Loving your country enough to being a part of the conversation to make it better. Okay. And so I'd like to say that patriotism is something, it's a participation. It's a participation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a spectator sport.
No. Mm-mm. That's really, I love that. It's not a spectator sport. Yeah. Yeah. You talked about your father as a soldier in a time when he wasn't even accepted fully.
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest lesson you learned from your dad about, that time?
I would say the biggest lesson was my dad said, even though things were, as he would use the term, that's just the way things were. Like he would read in newspapers about lynchings happening in the day. He's like, that's just the way things were. But he said, but he didn't have to be a part of the problem. He chose to not be part of the hate, of the dissension, of the division. And so in every role that he had in the military, he looked at himself as a leader, a person of influence. Mm-hmm. I do not know how he got that, where that came from, because we would talk about it all the time. He said, I don't know. I didn't see that type of leadership around me. It wasn't in my family. But I just knew I didn't want to be a part of what I was seeing. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be someone who could inspire the young leaders. And he mentored literally all the way, like 2 years prior to his death. He was involved in mentoring and talking about history, especially military history, Blacks in the military history. And he told me, he said, LaWanna, you have a choice, and it's only one. Be a part of the solution, be a part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say that he thought was more a part of the solution that he could pass on to his next generation?
Speaking truth and speaking life.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to say life into who we are, reminding us of who we are. Because when we step outside the door, we're going to be beaten up all the time, or we're going to turn on TV, and the media is going to try to classify us and define us. But he was just always reminding us who we were. And my dad came from a little German community in Kansas City, Missouri, outside of Kansas City, Missouri. 250 population.
Mm,
Today it may be
they're all
248.
family.
It may be 248 now, but somehow planted there shifted how he saw the world. So he went from this little country boy to globetrotting, with the military. He became a polyglot. He spoke 5 languages fluently. And I say that to say sometimes our gifts and talents are born in the slightest of environments. So I don't want people to think, well, I'm just from here, or my parents weren't whatever.
Yeah.
My dad was as the son of a coal miner.
Yes.
And advanced to the highest rank as an enlisted man. And he's my hero. I have a t-shirt that says, most people don't know their heroes. I was raised by mine.
Wow.
And so I think today my dad would tell me, because he has 2 grandchildren, to keep telling the stories, keep reminding them what we've done as a family, as a people. Speak the light that's out there.
Yeah.
Because anyone can jump in on the negative bandwagon in the train of condemning this and pointing fingers.
Yeah.
But it takes courage to stand defiantly against that and speak to the light. And so this book, I Pledge of Allegiance, speaks to the light. It speaks to the hope. And I'm getting beaten up by it. People are like, I don't know, I wouldn't have written that.
It's because they are not understanding that patriotism or pledging allegiance is not saying that you accept everything that's going on.
Yes.
You're not blindly going in and saying, I pledge allegiance. You're also saying, go forward, not blindly pledging allegiance, but living up to the promise of the flag, of the poem. So it's not blindly accepting. I don't want people to feel like you're saying accept everything that is not right. We have to love our country like we love our children. They're not perfect, but they can grow.
Yes.
And our country is not perfect, but we know that if we lend a voice to the injustice, lend a voice wherever we see a need, then it too have the ability to grow. I've seen it. I've seen where we have come so far because of others, great people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X raising their voice and saying, we see the things that you're doing and making it known. So, and, as I mentioned before, I'm Jamaican, and as my grandma would say, every little make a muckle. It means every little act that we do adds up.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I don't want people to think that you're saying accept the country as it is, but as the potential that it has because of each and every one of us that are here, that are Americans, that love this country, and we have a stake in this country. We have, our families are here. We want them to grow up in a place where they feel pride.
Yes.
Thank you, LaWanna. Y'all go out there and get her book. That's what y'all need to do. Don't be coming up here asking her why. You need to go out there and buy her book and then gift it to somebody. Right, LaWanna?
That's right. And ask yourself the hard questions that are in the book.
Yeah.
Your answers may surprise you.
You see? Don't be quiet over there and criticize. I want y'all to get the book and have these conversations in the home.
Yes.
Yeah, let's have these conversations in the home. So, LaWanna, where can they get this book?
They can get it on Amazon. It's pre-order right now. The official launch date is July 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So the Kindle is available now for pre-order, and next week the paperback will be available for pre-order.
Thank you very much. And finally, before we go, I'd like to ask 3 questions because I love to ask these questions to all of my guests before they go. So, what's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
One bold promise is that even in the darkest hour, I will always speak my truth, and I will always fight and defend the marginalized.
That's right. Thank you. And we have another question. What's a bold statement that you can share with the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
I would say always remember in life and in business, when your vision, not someone else's, your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable.
Ooh, where did that come from? Yeah, I like that.
That's mine.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. What's a bold move that you'd like to make in the future?
The bold move is, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want to be a part of community sustainability efforts, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. So uniting women from all nations to help improve communities.
You got to start that.
Got started.
Yeah, you can have a Zoom meeting with people from all over the world.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be a part of that tribe.
Okay.
So how can we be a part of your tribe?
Well, you can follow me on all things social media by my name, LaWanna Bradford. And if you want to know a little bit more about me and the things that I do, check me out, LaWannaBradford.com.
Thank you so much, LaWanna Bradford. You have been an amazing guest just to open up my insights on what's going on and looking deeply at the Pledge of Allegiance, and to see that it's more than just surface words. It's something that bring us all together because we have one goal, and it's to live in a place that is safe and our family can thrive. So I've thought about how we can stand up for what we believe and stand up for the people that feel marginalized. Thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
And if you're listening and you would like to write your book and publish it, please send me an email to authordnicholson@gmail.com or go to boldpublishings.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your